For this video, I'm going to show you how to make a Kami assignment in your Canvas classroom. One of the things that we found over the summer was that, especially for the elementary school kids, they needed a little bit of practice with the Kami. So my team, over Summer Boost, we made this Kami practice sheet. So something simple, we just made it in Google Slides. So thinking about some of those tools that the kids are going to need. So using that text box, there's an equation tool. They can make shapes, and there's a drawing tool. Those are the four that we kind of thought were the most important for them. So we just kind of typed this up on a Google slide and made this little bit of practice for them. When I'm using Kami is really great because you're able to annotate and to type and draw directly on a PDF. So what I'm going to do is, after I made this practice sheet, I'm going to go ahead and download it as a PDF. So I'm going to hit File, Download, PDF. It's going to come out at the bottom of my window. So now if I go back to my drive, I'm going to drag that in there. So it is in my Google Drive. That's exactly where it needs to be to upload this Kami assignment. So there it is. What I'm going to do is head over to my MCPS classroom, and I'm going to turn this into an assignment for my kids to do. So I'm going to go down to my courses, choose this one, and then I'm going to choose assignments. I'm going to create a new assignment, and I'm going to name it Kami Practice. So you can do this. This one is just going to be a practice one, but I found that this is really great for those Eureka math problem sets that you can put them in there through Kami, and the kids can put their answers right on there. It makes it editable for them and a lot easier for them to kind of show their work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down. I want my submission type to be an external tool. I'm going to click Find, and it's going to give me the option of a Kami Google Drive assignment. So if I click on that, it's going to connect directly to my drive so I can find that PDF that I already saved there. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down. There it is right there, Kami Practice. I'm going to click it and select it. So now if I hit select, the link is going to come up in there. So it's going to show me that I did it correctly. I'm going to go ahead, make a due date sometime in September, and I'm going to save it. So when the students click on their assignment, the Kami page is going to pretty much embed into Canvas. So they're not going to have to go to another window, which is great. It's going to be right in there. So some of the tools that we really talked about with our kids over the summer were, one, the zoom in and zoom out tools, because if you look at it right now, it's pretty big. I can scroll over and see all of it, but sometimes for the kids, it's a bit easier to see it all on one page. So I'm going to zoom out so then I can see my sentences all together. And then there's some tools. I have my select with my cursor. There's some great tools on there to help kids with accessibility. So there's a dictionary. So if I click on that and I click on a word practice, it's going to give me the definition there. There is also a text to speech. It's not the greatest one I've ever heard. It is a little bit robotic. But let's say I want to highlight these sentences. I'm going to press
Use the text box tool. Write 3 sentences about yourself in this box. You can change the font, size, or color.
Okay, so it's not terrible. It gets the job done. This markup is if you wanted to highlight text or underline or strike through. I'll show you an example if I want to highlight. And it'll just highlight a different color. I'm going to come back to this comment one. These are the ones that we really focused on with the kids. The text box, the equations, the drawing tool, and the shapes. So for this first one, use the text box tool to write 3 sentences about yourself in this box. So I click on text box, I can click here. The kids can customize the font. Let's make it a little bit bigger. They can underline it, make it bold. I am a third grade teacher. They can change the colors if they want. So kind of customizing that text. The equation tool, I'm going to be honest, we had a little bit of trouble with it over the summer. It's not the easiest tool to use, especially in third grade. The big one that we were trying to use it for is that division sign. There were some times with the kids that we just told them to use the slash because it wasn't really working for them. It's kind of tricky because if you start to type, so let's say I want to do 20 divided by 5 equals 4. 20, I have to put a division sign in. If I go to the equation and I go to the symbols and I click it here, it's not going to show up. What the kids need to do is they need to start almost like a new text box, then go to the symbols and choose it that way. So now you can see it's there. I'm going to make this bigger, and then they can kind of drag it wherever they need to go. So it's not the easiest way to do it. A lot of kids were just really stuck on starting the new text box and not being sure. So it is something that they'll have to play around with and kind of get used to. So 20 divided by 5 equals 4, but it is something that's there and is available for them. Looking at the shapes tool, so we did the text box, the equation. I'm going to skip drawing for now. Looking at the shapes, they can make rectangles, squares, circles, triangles, and lines. So let's say I want to make some circles, maybe a rectangle, and they can kind of customize these too. So let's say I want a blue line to kind of partition this. Partition that like that. Not perfect. If you have kids that are perfectionists, it will take some getting used to about being flexible and kind of rolling with it, because it is a lot easier to get them to show their work using Kami. But again, it's not always going to look perfect, especially when working with elementary school kids. So they can use those shapes. And then this drawing tool, we just kind of gave them a little connect the dots to work on it. So going back to this paintbrush drawing tool, they can just draw right on there. They enjoyed this part. But it's also great to have that drawing tool. Let's say I want to partition this circle into fourths. I can just kind of draw it right on there. And the kids can do things that way. Now, if there's ever something that I made and I don't want it on there anymore and I want to delete it, I can go back to my cursor, and anything that I click on, it's going to pop up with this little toolbar. So I can always make it bigger, but I can also delete it right from there. So let's say I don't like that line, it's a bit crooked. I'm going to go ahead and delete that. One of the last things I wanted to show, especially with the younger kids, is there is this comment tool. So they can do a text comment, a voice comment, a video, or they can do a screenshot of what they're working on. The one that I thought was really great is this voice comment. So if a student maybe has some accommodations and they're not typing it and they want to be able to physically speak their answer, they can use this. So you'll notice if I click on this here, a little dot's going to pop up. And right now you can see the wave lines. It's recording everything that I'm saying. So I can go ahead, I can record my answer, press stop. So then when someone sees this dot here, they know that's a voice comment. They can play it. And right now you can see the wave lines. It's recording everything that so it's going to have their voice right on there, which is really great. And just kind of like another way for kids to show their work with that. Since I am on my account, it's not going to show up, but for the kids, they will have a submit button up at the top. So when they're finished with their work, they press submit and it gets sent right back to you that you can see all of the work that they did on the Kami. So it's really great. It's a really good tool, especially for those math worksheets, I think will be very helpful for everybody.